Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. And today we have a special guest.
Hi, it's me, and today we're gonna be doing a manifest battle on Philo level 10 on my account.
Now if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So if you noticed from the length of the video, this is actually not a single battle, nor is it a 2-turn AF. We're actually going to go over a series of 3 different styles in beating this manifest, and you can compare and contrast or take whatever tips you want from each of these battles and use them for your own. Hopefully some of these tips you see or some of the strategies I use will be beneficial to you in the long run, either for manifest battles or for other bosses in the future. Now first of all, remember that Philo is a water-based slash unit, and we're going to be using different zones to counteract that damage. Not only that, and we're going to overpower Philo as well. Keep in mind that because he's water type, you can use water against it, or you can use earth damage against it. Other types will be resisted. Now first of all, for those who don't know, if they're relatively new to the game, we did set Pierce zone using AS Foreign, and for those who don't know, different zones can protect against other weapon type damage. In this case, Pierce protects against slash as well as magic damage by 30% while increasing your damage by 30% and allowing you to power up your bar much more quickly. So you can see that we're using a fairly stacked team, just the same team as we used for the first fight, an all-earth team. We have AS Bertrand, AS Seal, Milsha, as well as AS Foreign as our zone setter. Now, that battle ended pretty easily, obviously with just a couple of turns as well as a full bar AF or close to a full bar AF. We were able to do significant amounts of damage, and that was it. Now bear in mind that this battle does have about 20 million HP or so you do have to be able to do a large enough AF or single target attacks in order to do at least that much damage. Of course, for your troubles, you do get the upgraded manifest weapon. As well, you do get a gold badge and 100 chrono stones to boot. Later on, if I get a chance to, I'll try to do a 5-star review on Philo on my son's account. Keep in mind that this is not my account. I don't have Philo in any form, unfortunately. Now that being said, you can see the loadout here, pretty heavily grassed. Obviously for Bertrand, we're really trying to enhance again his HP so that he can tank more hits. And you can see that earlier on in the battle, he did take a pretty sizable 3,000 hit so that one of our other members doesn't have to take the fall or take damage. And of course, Philo wasn't used in this fight, being that he's only in the back to be able to fight that battle. Now, no manifest battle video would be complete without at least trying to see if we can beat the manifest with the total Tails of Team with mana, of course, as our additional debuffer, as well as minimal Grasta. I'll show you the loadout at the end, but there's only one Grasta equipped on Crest, and hopefully you'll be having access to that. Now note that we also don't have an AF bar to start. We're using Mistopheles to decrease power by 35 and increase int by 35. Now I know that affects all of us as well, but you'll note that it lasts for 3 turns, and we're going to do our AF on the 4th turn. We also use Guardian Field to give ourselves a 25% type shield. We use Cloud Pierce to allow us to heal at the end of turn. And we're using the Nightmare Claw on Velvet. And remember that once we get 3 turns of that, she'll turn into a Therion state in which she really boosts her own attack power. Otherwise, after that, we did VC in Crest for Slash Zone. Now that may be a little bit crazy, but note that we did cast Coil. I know that Slash Zone does increase Philo's slash attacks by 30% as well, but also enhances us as well. And keep in mind that Mistopheles is still in effect for another couple of turns. Cloud Pierce is still used to heal at the end of turn, and we're now starting to boost Yuri by using Azure Wolf Strike, trying to give us as many stacks of speed and power so that when we do the AF, he can start giving everyone crit abilities with his Wolf Storm. Now, note that at the 4th turn, because we cast Mistopheles on turn 1, everything has faded. However, you can see that Velvet is now activated on Therion state. We have protected ourselves, and now we're activating a full AF bar, or close to a full AF bar here. Divine Wolfstorm is the one that really increases the crit rate of our entire team, and the tails have really worked well together. Also, we're using Whirling Assault on Mila during the AF to apply as many as 3 stacks of physical resistance debuff. That will help all our physical units deal more damage, and since, like I said, the buffs have faded, we want to activate and kill him right here, Philo. Otherwise, he will start dealing tons of damage to us as well. So, the purpose of this part of the video is hopefully to show you kind of the timing at which you can see what buffs and debuffs you're using, and really time your AF such that when you see an opening, you can unleash your another force on the enemy. Like I said, this one is very nice in that it's very friendly in terms of hardly any grind required, no grass on pretty much everybody, and Crest does have this one, which is tier 3 Power of Void Sword, enhanced by the future Garrulea system with 1 dormant ore. So pretty light on Grasta, which is very, very nice. Of course, if you have more Grasta, you'll do it for more damage. Now, in our final example, we're going to use another weapon type zone. This time we're going to be using a magic type zone. Again, we're going to have mana on our team, and we're going to use actually a different move. So, bear in mind that we want to establish magic zone nice and early, both to help enhance our bar gain as well as reduce physical attacks by 30%. Keep in mind that if you try fighting this battle without enough debuffs, you're going to take a lot of damage. We also did put up Earth Wall, we put up Spiritual Utterance, which by the way for AS2 Manifested gives a 25-25 power and int debuff on the enemy. And of course, now we're casting Prayer of Judgment, which gives us a 30% physical resistance. We also have Practical, which also gives 30% physical resistance and a regen. Now, I realize that there are diminishing returns on this, in that, you know, when you add 30 and 30, it doesn't actually equal 60% in reduction. However, with all those different shields and debuffs on the enemy, know that Rosetta actually took 0 damage, and also AS Myris does take 0 damage. So we're really trying to illustrate that defense does win championships, and in the case of some tougher battles, defense also helps you win the fight as well. Of course, we could have ended it early with a 2-turn or 3-turn AF, but what's the fun of that? We really wanted to kind of play around with the mechanics of the game and kind of see the limits of which we can defend against some of these fights. Now, one thing to note, Philo actually heals himself for a couple million every few turns with his hit, and so we're really not going to extend the fight too much longer, but I just wanted to show you that this team, given enough buffs and debuffs, and certainly if you build other teams like it, where you have a lot of shielding and things like that, you will take minimal damage and just kind of keep your HP up and survive. Now, this is the turn by which most teams will fail if you don't have enough mitigation. And so he's going to do a large AoE, and he's also boosted himself. You can see that there's a blue icon for power as well as speed. He will outspeed you on this turn, and so in this case, see, with all the shields, 3 people took 0 damage, and Myris unfortunately took a measly 1100 damage, more than enough to survive. Keep in mind that the turn after that, we're also still taking an additional AoE here. Now, since a lot of our shielding has failed or faded, we still took about 1000 damage across the board. However, hey, much less than taking 3 or 4k. Note that now that we were actually put to sleep, we weren't able to put up any more debuffs and buffs on ourselves, as well as put the debuffs on the enemy. So we're going to just unleash the AF right here. I actually made a mistake when I first filmed it, and so I do apologize for that. I should be using Transform Claw during the AF to just really unleash one super hit with AS Myers, thus ending the fight. However, I was more busy just spamming the right button and left Philo with a sliver of life, which was probably not the best idea. That being said, we were able to survive. AS2 tanked the hit for us. I know she's not a tank, but she did tank the hit for 1800, and we're going to end it now with one Transform Claw. So, like I said, hopefully these battles were a little bit entertaining, a little bit different from some of the other videos you may have watched about Manifest fights, and hey, pushes some of the limits of the mechanics that we have available to us in Another Eden. However, this one does use a lot of Grasta, obviously, to enhance the damage on our team. These Grasta are pretty much not used for defense, just for attack, and so, if you have less Grasta, you'll just do a little bit less damage, and of course, if you played it a little better, you probably would do more damage than myself. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.